Hey, this is CalNLF, and thank you for watching my final review of Pohatu, Master of Stone. And I'm not going to cover Liwa and Kopaka, not because they're better sets than the ones I reviewed, just because I don't have them, and I don't really feel like buying them again. Maybe I will, who knows? Because some of these parts are cool, and the only reason I got some of these was because they were on discount, and I am a sucker for good deals. So anyway, that passed. Today we obviously will be talking about Pohatu, Master Stone, and I'm actually tackling two topics because I think I could probably fit them both into one video. Transparency and the overuse of it, and game function, which sort of falls in line with the actual gear function itself, but mostly it's a little bit different. So let's just start with transparency because that's gonna become a big problem if Lego keeps overdoing it. Basically, I'm saying they need to slow it down. Slow it down. Transparent parts are cool, but what they seem to be doing now is as a way of going from Hero Factor to Bionicle, they want to find a. It seems like since they aren't going to be making new shells or anything like I complained about in the last Golly video, they're just trying to do things slightly different to make it, make sense, I guess. So, I guess they're having translucent parts to make it seem sort of alien, and that's their way of making it feel like it's not a factory setting. And I don't think it's very smart. It, they don't really follow through with it, especially on this guy who has this cool translucent green arm. And then you could argue that like the spikes on his things are cool, but then he just got them on his legs. How does that work? And it doesn't even make sense either, because it would make more sense if it were his thighs. That way you could make the argument, oh, every one of these shells is connected to a translucent piece, but it's not. The metal ones are. You could reverse it and fix it, but this is the way Lego originally designed the set, so that doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's one point. Another point is that then you got something like a Kimu, who I will give a pass because he's supposed to be like this special guy. He's like sort of like the Matanui, and he's supposed to look royal. And the gold and trans blue color scheme looks pretty neat, and that's why he's probably one of the best figures of this new Bionicle. But if you do that for every character, Skull Villains too, like every Skull Villain has a mixture of translucent parts. And not only does mixing translucent colors look kind of bad, with the exception of the eye stock, even though I do think it probably would look better if his eyes were blue, whatever. You can have a different eye stock color of translucent to the rest of it. I think that works okay. But if you mix like body parts, it just looks like a jumbled mess, and that's why these Skull Villains are pretty weird. And I just don't understand it really. They want to make it seem like kind of cool, and I feel like that's part of the reason I'm not gonna I'm hawking my own wares or whatever, which is I kind of am, but like if you do something like this, I know this is me sort of self-advocating, but whatever. My idea was just that she has all blue arms, like she's water arms. I think that could be a kind of a cool idea, but you gotta have something. And she just lost her face. But you gotta have something. And the overuse of the translucent parts is kind of devaluing it. Every time we used to get translucent parts, especially armor, because like the eyes are always cool to get because they look like eyes when you have translucent parts. But when you actually get armor pieces, like, oh, that's neat. Like when they did that on Stringer for the breakout and gave him the dark blue ones, it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. Because not every character had translucent armor. But now every character has translucent parts, and it's just gonna eventually, it's sort of an extra cool factor, and it adds something to a character depending on what their role is. That's why I like it on Kimu. He's like a god type character. Give him trans blue because it's like royalty. But Pohatu, he's just a Toa, and you could say, okay, fine, the Toa have him. But the protectors have them too. And the protectors are just like, They're the leaders of their villages. Does everyone have transit? It just makes it seem devalued and boring. And you don't want to do that. The other problem is the game function. And okay, one, yeah, it's slower, but like you can still do it. You could probably have a game, but it's the head thing. And that's why I thought I'd shove it in here because everyone's already complained about this. You have to hit it from the back to knock the mask off. It's not designed like the original Toamata, where like if you hit the face, the mask will fall off and you win the game. Like all the original 2001 sets were designed in a way that they could all interact off the basis of knocking masks off. And they all had gimmicks to knock masks off, and that's what made it kind of cool. Every character could interact with the other character with their gimmick. Now, and so, like, with Toa, yeah, sure, it works, but then, like, what do you do? The Skull Spider is probably the coolest designed gimmick of the set, but how does it interact with the other gimmicks, the other Toa's gimmicks? Not at all. It just picks up a mask. Cool, neat gimmick, but not only does it limit the posability, it also makes there's no game to it. You can pick up other Toa, sort of, but you can't even really do that. It's just sort of stupid. And it just goes back to the idea that they sort of added the gimmick thing. They added the gears and functions and the functions back just as a way of being like, ooh, we got something new, something, we're going old school, without actually following through and thinking about it and putting tons of thought into making it something that people would be like, oh wow, that's neat. All the characters can interact with each other because they can knock off masks. That's cool. Instead, it's just, oh, well, the Toa can fight each other, I guess. If one of them sneak attacks the other, they can knock the mask off. But and then if they fight the spider can swap his legs at him like, oh yeah. I don't know. And yeah, this is the longest review because I had to cover both these. But yeah, overall, I'd just like to say thank you if you watched all 4 of these. And I know I'm coming across as a total hater, but I think these are legitimate complaints. And if these are not addressed at any way, the sets are only going to get worse and worse. And that's kind of a negative outlook, but that's how I'm feeling. Like, I don't see, especially with the villains being skeleton guys, it's not looking like they're going to try anything remotely as interesting as what Bionicle did. I mean, Bionicle's humanoids fighting animals, pretty basic idea. What the heck is a Bow-Rock? Do you know? I don't know. And that's what made it cool, because it's like there's these cool roll-up bally things, and they're like robot things. Instead, we just like, oh, skeletons. We know what skeletons are. Maybe since technically they're the first villains, well, technically we've had spiders and skeletons, so they've already filled their animal quota. But maybe 2016 will be better. Here's hoping. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.